من الشيطان الرجيم.
Welcome back everyone. Today I will recap a 2022 Malaysian horror movie Blood Flower. Before we start, please like and comment on the video as it will help us grow our reach. At the beginning of the movie, we see Ibal with his friends, and they are thinking that they need to find another hangout spot. Only then Ibal hears someone calling out his name, and he starts following that voice. His friends ask him where he is going, but he ignores them and leaves, and then he sees his mother going down the stairs. When he comes down, he finds her in an elevator, who takes out a torch from her bag and gives it to him. Now as soon as Ibal is about to get the torch, she comes from the side in demonic form, seeing which he gets terrified, and she says that she has been looking everywhere for him. Later, while they were going somewhere, Ibal tells his dad that he doesn't think they should go as something doesn't feel right. Now their car breaks down on the way, and when Norman comes out to check it, he tells Dina that thing is starting to disturb them, and Dina says if he realizes they have passed this way twice already. Norman tells her to put her phone away and use her third sight. Now when Ibal comes out, he sees a long figure passing in the forest, and then he gives a bag to his mother. She takes out some flashlights from her bag and gives one of them to Ibal. He gets terrified of this and tells his dad that he doesn't want anything to happen to mom. Norman asks him what's wrong with him, and then he goes to Dina and tells her that the sooner they get there, the sooner they finish and leave. Now here we learn that Ibal and his mother has abilities to see the unseen, and they see many strange entities on the way. They then reach a house where Dina tells Ibal not to be afraid, because the things that they can see can't harm them. The door of that house then opens on its own, and when they enter the house, Norman tells her daughter Ye to sit there as they have some work to do. A lady then calls them upstairs and takes them to Zura's room, where they find a lady dead on the bed and a man levitating above her. She then notices a Zura possessed there and tells Norman that it could be an Al-Henu jinn. Suddenly Zura attacks and throws Norman away and tells Dina that they can't touch Zura as she belongs to them now. Dina begins reading prayers and brings the man down, which makes Jinn furious and she attacks Ibal. Ibal tells her mom that she is not Al-Henu and asks her what to do. Dina tells him to use his abilities, to which Jinn says Ibal can die. Dina then throws the demon away saying not to touch his son. Zura then gets up and asks Dina for help, but it turns out the Jinn tricked her and tries to kill Ibal, but Dina intervenes, causing the demon to possess her, and then she falls down. Norman rushes to her and asks Ibal to get the jar and tells him to recite the prayers. They manage to get the demon out and put it into a jar, and Dina tells them that is an Al-Gillen jinn and it wanted to kill Ibal. She then reads her final prayers and dies there in Norman's arms. Now after a few days, Ibal tells Norman that he doesn't want to see those things anymore or continue their work, as what is the point of his abilities if he can't even save his own mother? Norman says it's not his fault and that they can't fight God's plan. Later, Norman gets a call from his friend Jamal, and he tells Ye that he has to go and asks her to stay there and not go anywhere. We then see that Norman is a therapist, and he tells Jamal that his wife passed away. He gets shocked to know this and tries to help him with money, but tells him that he has to help him with something for the next 2 weeks. He then takes Norman to his greenhouse, and Norman brings Ibal with him too. There he shows them different types of carnivorous plants, and it also contains his beloved Titan arums, which he carried from Sumatra. He tells them that they bloom once every 8 years, only for a day. He has only ever seen it once, and he can't miss it, but before that, they have to feed them. He then takes Norman with him, and after they leave, Ibal hears some voice from inside that plant. He goes near that plant to hear it carefully and gets a bit scared of this. While leaving there, Norman notices a locked room there with a talisman on its door, and Jamal tells him that the room is empty and he doesn't need to enter. Now while closing the greenhouse, Norman tells Ibal that his tasks will be done in 2 weeks, and he is not supposed to enter this place. However, after a few days, Ibal brings his sister and friends to the greenhouse, and they all get excited to see the exotic plants. Nurul asks him where did he get the keys from, to which he says his dad is taking care of this place while her dad is away in Sumatra for 2 weeks. He then takes them to a room where there are many strange exotic animals, and Bob says his mom says Nurul's dad is not stingy with his second wife's family and they are all wealthy. Nurul gets upset hearing this and leaves the room, and Ibal goes after her to tell her that Bob doesn't mean it. They then notice the locked room, and Ollie asks them what they think is in there. Ollie snatches the keys from him and tries to open the locks, but none of those keys opens the locks. Ibal tells them to leave the place, but Ollie throws away the talisman saying there is nothing to be afraid of this. Suddenly the door opens on its own and they hear a growl from inside the room, hearing which Bob and Ollie run away from there. Ibal goes in to check and gets shocked to see a nail hammered on the wall from which blood is oozing. He asks Nurul if it's mucus or blood, to which she says she only sees a nail. He says something is wrong and begins leaving there, but stops hearing a growl. Only then he sees a creature there and tells Neural that they need to get out here. Later that night, while he was watching his mother's video on his phone, he hears some noise and finds a creature walking inside the bathroom. He then hears someone crying from there, but when he goes there to check, he finds no one there. Only then does he realize that someone is crying from inside the mirror, and when he checks it, he suddenly wakes up from sleep, and when he gets up, we notice a creature lying next to him on his bed. He gets scared and begins reading prayers, causing the creature to vanish from there. Now when he goes out, he gets terrified seeing the ghost of Neural's granny there. He then goes to his mom's grave and watches her video, and falls asleep there. Later, Norman finds him there and wakes him up, and asks him what happened last night, to which Iqbal says he just wants to be normal. Norman tells Master that they can't leave Iqbal like this, so they have to seal his abilities. The next day, Master says he doesn't think this is a wise decision, to which Norman says there is no other way. Later, Master performs a ritual to seal his abilities to see, feel, hear, and heal. But whether it works or not is in the hands of God. He then gives Norman the verse to undo it, if he ever needs to. He also tells him that when he will get the signs from God, he will know what has to be done. Later, Neural's granny hears a bell sound from the elevator, and when she goes there to check, she gets terrified seeing a girl's ghost and a creature behind her. The next day, she tells Iqbal that they will be damned, and then she goes into her house. Iqbal then finds her standing on the balcony, and only then does his father call him out, and when he leaves there, she jumps off the balcony. Now when he comes down, he gets shocked to see her dead there, and then he gets terrified seeing that entity holding her up and licking her blood with his long tongue. They then go to watch a movie in a theater, and Iqbal sees a ghost there too, due to which he gets terrified and leaves there. Norman and Ye go after him to ask him what happened, and she asks him to go back inside as she wants to see that ghost again. Iqbal tells her don't joke around about these things, and then he leaves there. Later that night, the doors of the green room open on their own, and Rahim enters there. Norman is also there, but he was listening to prayers on headphones, so he could not notice him. Soon after, the creature kills Rahim, and we see that girl's ghost there watching Norman. Meanwhile, Iqbal hears someone crying again, and his body starts stiffening. The next day, Neural asks them if they feel something is off since they went up there. Bob says he hears the sounds of a woman weeping, but Neural asks him to stop it and let's go look for Ollie. Iqbal says they need to put that mantra paper back, but Bob says he is out of it. Later, at Grandma's funeral, Iqbal hears her saying they will be damned, due to which he gets terrified. Anna asks him if he is okay, and Iqbal sees Bob and Ollie standing behind them covered in blood. Later, he goes to the green room with Neural and enters the locked room while searching for that mantra paper. There he finds the blood oozing from the wall, and that paper comes flying near his feet. Now when he tries to pick it up, it flies away, and the creature tries to attack him and then disappears. Only then he hears Neural's scream from outside, and when he goes out, he finds she is scared of Ollie's dead body there, and he has that paper in his hand. Now when the police arrive, Norman says he found the boy. It was his morning shift for watering the plants according to Jamal's schedule. Sergeant Zahan asks him who else has access to this place aside from him, to which he says no one, but he is not too sure. They then come back home and Norman asks Iqbal why did he steal the keys and take 𝐀𝐄𝐒 there, and how was Ollie there. Iqbal says he doesn't know how Ollie got in by himself, but yesterday he did take them there. Ollie and Bob tore off the mantra paper and he felt something was released from there. Norman says his abilities have been sealed, to which he says he can't tell what's real or what's not. Norman tells him to stop this nonsense, as anyone can buy that mantra paper and stick it on. Iqbal says that he knew that he will never understand, as he doesn't have what his mom and he has. Meanwhile, an officer finds a phone on the balcony. Later that night, Iqbal goes to Neural's home to meet her, and his phone dies there. He then goes into a trance and sits at the dining table, where Neural's grandma serves him rice and meat, and he begins eating it. But soon after he comes to his senses and notices something is off, and finds that he is eating human flesh. He then sees Grandma's ghost slitting her abdomen with a chopper, and then she begins laughing, and only then he finds Neural eating a newborn baby sitting in front of him. The next day, he tells Neural that he can see into other dimensions, all sorts of beings, spirits, and jinns. He thinks he can also see when people are going to die, and last night, he saw her. Neural says it's okay, but asks him to save her if anything happens to her. Meanwhile, with police's permission, Norman with 𝐀𝐒𝐒 goes to the greenhouse to feed the plants. Now while he is doing it, we see Bob there entering that room, and that entity drags him into the darkness to kill him. The next day, the police find Bob's dead body there, and while Zahan was investigating the place, the officers outside break one of the pot, and they find a human jawbone in it. Later that night, Iqbal wakes up hearing someone telling him not to be scared. Only then 𝐀𝐒𝐒 comes there and tells him that she can hear that sound since they went upstairs. He then takes her to Neural's house, where Anna serves them food and tells them she is off to work. After she leaves, the ghost of that girl appears there, and the three of them were able to see her. Nurul calls her sister, to which Iqbal says she is not her sister, and then we see that entity standing behind her and merges her into him. Iqbal tries to stop it, but his abilities are sealed, so the entity knocks him down and then tries to kill Nurul. It spills some liquid into her mouth, causing her to faint. The next day, Iqbal goes to the greenhouse where something drips on his hand and he finds that the plant is oozing blood. He gets terrified and clicks at picture but finds that the blood is not visible in the photos. He then goes into that room and clicks the photo of that wall, and then he asks the creature what does he want. We then see him at her mother's grave, watching her video on his phone where he asks her to forgive him as he couldn't save her. The phone malfunctions and his mother tells him there is nothing to forgive. She is gone, but she will always love him as he is, and he doesn't need to be like anyone else. The next day, he goes to the master, who tells him that it seems only his healing abilities are sealed. His abilities are extraordinary, a special pact between him and God. Meanwhile, we see Norman at the police station where Zehan tells him they found Rahim's cell phone and traces of his blood at flat 10A. Ravi asks him if he and Rahim used the two dead boys to deal drugs, and here Norman comes to know that Bob is also dead. He says this paper is the reason for all this and he has to save his kids, and then he leaves there saying his kids are in danger. Meanwhile, Iqbal and Ye hear someone scream from the floor above, and only then Norman comes there. They then go to Nurul's house and find that she is possessed and beating her mom. While forcefully feeding her rice, she is saying that she wants her dad. Norman begins reading the prayers, causing Nurul to stop, and he asks the demon what her name is and what her father's name is. She spits on him and says Jamal bin Ahmad, and then she gets down from the bed. Iqbal grabs her and Norman begins reading prayers by placing his hand on her forehead, due to which she calms down. Norman says if they don't heal her now, this thing will take their children. Only then the bell rings, and Anna says the police are here to ask her some questions. Norman says they can't know that he is here and that he will explain it later. Zehan asks Anna about her brother-in-law Rahim, to which she says he was useless like his brother. She then asks her whose room is it, to which she tells her that this is her elder daughter Farah's room, who went missing 8 years ago. An officer then comes there and tells Zehan that they need to get moving as they say it's urgent. The officer tells her Norman killed Rahim and dumped his body here, but she says the bones and the blood stains, there is still a missing piece to this. Here Anna goes back to Nurul's room and says she can't lose another child. Only then Nurul says she is not Nurul, and Norman says he can talk to him and asks him who he is and what he wants. Nurul says she is Farah, and she doesn't want to talk to him, but to her father. She then suddenly begins attacking them and knocks them down, and then tries to drag Iqbal under the bed. Anna tries to pull him back and manages to get him out, and meanwhile, Norman gets up and begins reading prayers. Nurul then comes out of under the bed and jumps on him and begins scratching him, and tells him that they all will be damned. Norman manages to put his hand on her forehead and continues reading the prayers, causing her to faint and fall down. She then begins to normalize and asks Iqbal to help her. Later, they put her on the bed, and Iqbal says this is dangerous and she could die. He tells Norman that this is Hantu Rhea Jinn, and Norman asks Anna does anyone in her family keep a Hantu Rhea. She has no idea what it is, to which Iqbal says she keeps calling for her father and maybe he could help. Norman sends that plant's photo to Jamal, and only then Nurul starts shaking badly. Iqbal asks his dad to ask her who its master is, and then she gets up and asks Iqbal what the matter is. Norman asks her not to mess with his son, to which she tells him to stay away. She then gives birth to a strange creature and then falls on the bed. However, she gets up again and leaves there. Iqbal requests his dad to unseal his abilities, to which he says no and don't try to be a hero like his mother. Now when Norman comes out, he finds that Ye is gone. They both begin searching for her, and when Iqbal finds her, she points towards a side, and suddenly Nurul attacks him with a knife, but Norman comes in between and gets injured. They then see Nurul carrying Ye, and with no other way left, Norman unleashes Iqbal's healing abilities. He gets up and Nurul puts Ye down, and Anna takes away Norman and Ye from there. Nurul throws the knife and grabs Iqbal's throat, and Iqbal tells the demon to let her go and take him instead. The demon asks him what's so special about him, and Iqbal manages to put his hand on her head and begins reading prayers. This makes the demon weak, and Iqbal takes out the slime from inside her and eats it, causing her to faint, and then he also falls down. He then gets possessed and gets up, and Nurul becomes normal. We then see him in the greenhouse searching for something, and then Norman also comes there looking for him. Iqbal starts digging through the wall in the locked room where he finds a packet, and Norman tells the demon to get out of his son. The demon throws the packet and says this kid dies if he snaps his fingers, and then he jumps on him. Norman tries to fight back, and the demon tells him that his son is special and not him, and he stood by and watched Dina die just like he will watch Iqbal die. Norman gets furious and begins hitting him, and meanwhile, in another dimension, Dina comes to Iqbal. However, he knows it is a demon and he tells him to stay away from him. He then begins reading prayers, causing the demon to retreat. Here Iqbal comes to his senses, and Anna, Neural, and Yea also come there, and Norman tells Iqbal that he just wants to help. Only then Anna notices the packet and picks it up, and she finds a fetus in it. Later, Jamal returns to the greenhouse, and he gets shocked to see its condition. He tries to get out, but the door shuts and something drags him and brings him into that room. Now in a flashback, here it is revealed that 8 years ago, Farah was possessed by a demon that came with his beloved plant from Sumatra. It didn't have a master back then, and when Farah came to tend to his plants, it chose her, and as long as it is inside her, it won't let her die. Jamal gets furious and kills her by cutting her abdomen with a machete, and then he cuts her body into pieces and hides it in the pot of that plant with the help of Rahim. He then buries the demonic fetus in the wall in front of his mother and tells her never to move this paper or they will be damned. Back to the present, Anna tells him that he is worse than an animal, and she throws that fetus at him. The demon then comes there and drags him into another dimension, and when he gets up, he finds Farah there. She says luckily he tells her once how to please a man, but what a pity that she died. His knife was always dull, but her weapon is vicious, and then she disappears. Only then the demon grabs him by his throat and lifts him up, and then it kills him. The demon then returns to the room, and Iqbal says they need to seal it in there, but Norman says they need to close the portal. They then both begin reading prayers, causing the demon to retreat, and the portal closes. The next day, Norman tells Iqbal that Dina always told him to guide him until he is ready, to which he says now he understands that he is not meant to be normal, and with God's guidance, he will do what is needed. Only then Yea sees many spirits in the graveyard, and she asks who are those people, and here they realize that she also has her mother's abilities. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon never to miss new video updates. Thanks for watching.